Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Folks, there is a complication as far as the infrastructure negotiations are concerned from House Speaker Pelosi. I'm going to dig deeper into this subject and let you know what to expect. Also, I get this question a lot from viewers and subscribers on our channel. Are there going to be stimulus checks in the infrastructure package? The answer to the question is there are going to be jobs in the infrastructure package. That is what the goal is of the administration. Let's start by taking a look at important comments from the President of the United States, who was specifically asked about a timeline, how long people would have to wait for relief, to which the President responded, I got them $1.9 trillion in relief, checks in the mail that are going to be consequential. I'm going to, I quote, fight like heck to get them the rest of what has to be done. Let's roll the tape and hear from the President of the United States, Joe Biden. Let's watch.
Mr. President, can you answer a question? Thank you so much. My question is on the timeline. There are families who are looking at the family plan and wondering when that help is coming. Can you talk, things that are going to be promptly and in tandem, but can you say anything more about that? And what does this signal for future deals? There's still things like voting rights and policing reform that are not able to get bipartisan deals. What does this tell you? What have you learned in talking to Republicans about what could happen in the future?
Let me take, you asked three essay questions, legitimate questions. Well, you asked three of them. The first one related to what again?
The first one's on the timeline. When do you think this to track?
And you said when people are waiting for relief.
Yes.
I got them $1.9 trillion relief so far. They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential this week for childcare. A lot has been happened already, number one. Number two, I'm going to fight like heck to get them the rest of what I think has to be done. On education, for example, my proposal was in the family plan, early education and free community college. I'm going to fight like the devil to get that done. But it's not going to be with Republican help. I'm going to have to get every Democrat and do it through reconciliation if it gets done. So that's number one. I think, based on my being out in the street and polling data, I think the people who need the help the most trust me to be fighting to get them the help they need. They know who I am and they know my record.
Folks, now let's jump to the complication. Now, as you probably know by now, the $1.2 trillion package that has been agreed upon between the Democrats, specifically the White House, and the Republicans is just the opening salvo. The Democrats want to pursue reconciliation to pass additional priorities that they have. In fact, Speaker Pelosi said so. Here's a headline of an article on your screen from CNN. House Speaker Pelosi said that the House will not take up the bipartisan bill until the Senate votes on reconciliation. Wow, folks, this is big news. This is what House Speaker Pelosi said. I quote, let me be really clear on this. We will not take up a bill in the House until the Senate passes the bipartisan bill and a reconciliation bill. If there is no bipartisan bill, then we'll just go when the Senate passes a reconciliation bill. And this is what she said. She reiterated this. There ain't going to be no bipartisan bill unless we have a reconciliation bill. As I said, there won't be an infrastructure bill unless we have a reconciliation bill. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be an infrastructure bill unless we have the reconciliation bill passed by the United States Senate. Folks, this is as clear as it gets that House Speaker Pelosi wants the Senate to play ball with her so that she can pass whatever she wants and whatever the Democrats want through the additional process of reconciliation. In fact, her statement was meant to put pressure on progressives who have expressed reservations about this, I quote, a smaller price tag for infrastructure. She wants them to get behind the bipartisan proposal with the promise that their priorities for infrastructure will be in a separate, larger, more sweeping bill that could be passed by the Democrats using the process of budget reconciliation. Now, budget reconciliation means that it will only need a simple majority, that is 51 senators to vote for it, including the tie-breaking vote of the Vice President Kamala Harris. So, the Speaker's statement actually puts pressure on individuals like Senator Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat of West Virginia, to support the larger infrastructure package so that the bipartisan package can pass through Congress. In other words, she's essentially signaling to Joe Manchin, hey man, if you don't support the larger infrastructure package, then the whole bipartisan package is dead in the water. This is really hardball from House Speaker Pelosi in an effort to make sure the larger package, the bigger package beyond the $1.2 trillion stimulus that the Democrats are working on will indeed be passed. In fact, Manchin said, I quote, he's open to a reconciliation bill that changes the 2017 tax law to raise taxes to pay for new spending programs. He also said, I quote, reconciliation is inevitable because of all the Republican opposition to raising taxes. In short, it looks like House Speaker Pelosi's strategy is working to strong-arm Joe Manchin to agree with the Democrats' larger priorities. He did say, I quote, I'm open to that. And he said there's going to be a reconciliation bill. We just don't know what size it's going to be. So, folks, again, this is an example of political hardball from House Speaker Pelosi intended to strong-arm Joe Manchin into supporting the entire infrastructure plan, not just the $1.2 trillion bipartisan plan, which, by the way, folks, is almost like a mirage, a Trojan horse, if you will. In that, I mean, it's not the full picture. The full picture is the larger stimulus, the larger infrastructure plan that is going to be passed along with the bipartisan proposal that is currently being built, being championed behind the scenes by House Speaker Pelosi and her entire team. So what is happening right now, folks, is that the Democratic leaders are planning to move forward with a much larger stimulus package beyond the $1.2 trillion stimulus plan, with a Democrat-only approach to dramatically expand the social safety plan in addition to the bipartisan infrastructure plan. In fact, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, as you might expect, supports House Speaker Pelosi's plan, and he said this, I quote, it's a good way to ensure that both ends go forward. And he said that his pitch to Manchin and other Democrats is, if we don't have unity, we're going to get nothing done. So this is where things stand right now, everybody. Political hardball from House Speaker Pelosi as far as Joe Manchin is concerned. Let me know what you think is likely to happen. In my opinion, Joe Manchin is likely to come around. He's likely to support reconciliation, which is the only way the bipartisan infrastructure bill will move forward. I have to hand it to Speaker Pelosi, folks. She's playing a game of political chess where she essentially has both Joe Manchin as well as the Senate Republicans checkmate right now, because without her support, the House is not going to vote on the bipartisan infrastructure package. And with her support, the Republicans can say, hey, we supported infrastructure, and the Democrats can say, hey, we actually passed much larger stimulus beyond infrastructure. So in a sense, both sides win. And someone like Joe Manchin, who used to be a power player in Washington, is actually being checkmated out of this equation. That is actually happening in real time, folks. You come to this channel so you can understand what's going on behind the scenes. And right now, we have not just a game of political hardball, but a game of checkmate with House Speaker Pelosi now going on the offense against Joe Manchin and saying, hey man, your time's up. If you don't support this, the entire thing collapses like a pack of cards. And now we have a situation where if Joe Manchin does not support the reconciliation package, he ends up being the outcast, and he ends up being the reason that everything collapses like a house of cards. Again, a game of hardball, political chess, and in fact, checkmate, if you will, from House Speaker Pelosi. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. My prediction is we are likely to see anywhere between $3 and $4 trillion in additional spending through reconciliation beyond the $1.2 trillion compromise that has been reached between the White House and the Republicans, because that $1.2 trillion package is simply a package intended to demonstrate bipartisanship, but it is by no means the end game as far as the Democrats are concerned. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I want you to know that I work very hard on this channel to try and identify what's going on in the world of politics, because I want you to know that politics is about timing, it's about opportunity, it's about tribalism, us against them, and it is about perception. What is perceived by the consumer, what is perceived by the voter, is what all politicians, Democrats and Republicans, care about. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I want you to know that I will always work hard for you on this channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.